to raise her kids. And I was fortunate to be a pseudo mom to Wes. Sean was a surrogate dad. He lived in our house, in and out. He was always welcome. He was one of mine. He was the son I never had. He got the biggest laugh yesterday at the balloon because we all wore LSU colors. And I hate LSU. I'm a hotty-toddy Ole Miss. And we had this, y'all talk about his competitiveness. We had our battle between LSU and Ole Miss. So when I walked out with that LSU jersey on, Darby turned around and busted out laughing because Wes is laughing now. He just got the last laugh. I said, yeah, he won. And my last act of compliance, I put a little LSU tiger in the coffin so he can go away with this tiger. So he got the last laugh and he won. And speaking of that, when we were up at Oxford, he came up there to visit Molly Grace, which, by the way, my name is Dacia Amos, so Molly Grace Amos's mom is one of her very best friends, a brother. And from what I hear, Wes had a way of making everybody feel like a best friend, which is a very special trait to have. But they were thick as thieves. That was her go-to for everything. The guy in her life that she loved, and he was always there for her. But he was up there that weekend. LSU was playing Ole Miss. My godson pitches for Ole Miss, so I was at the game. Molly had something to do with sorority. He wanted to go to the game. He called me. He said, "You at the game?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I want to come meet you. Where are you sitting?" And I was sitting in the family section. He said, I want to meet you." I said, "What are you wearing?" He said, "A purple shirt." I said, "How purple?" And is it purple and gold? And does it have LSU on it? He goes, "Well, it's a light purple. It's a pullover. It's got a little bit of LSU." I said, "All right, Wesley, you can come sit with me, but I'm in the family section of Ole Miss, and you cannot be belligerent. You cannot be obnoxious. You've got to behave, or you're gonna get us kicked out." He said, "I promise, Stacia, I promise. I'll be good." So he came, and it was a lavender purple, and it was a little tiny LSU. I said, "Just stay there and just be quiet." He said, "Okay." They were killing us. And I said, "I'm telling you, don't cheer. Don't say anything, like cheer inside." He goes, "Miss Stacia, I don't have a single problem sitting here quiet watching my team kick y'all's butt." Touche, Wesley. Touche. But, you know, when I was going through pictures, I kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I would say, "Molly, I forgot Wes went with us here. I forgot he did this with us. I forgot he was there." I kept going back year after year. And, you know, she said, when wasn't Wes there? He was always there. And I got to know him more. I started taking him home from school. And Mama, you should be proud. I don't care if it was the first trip or the 100th trip home. Every time he got out of my car, "Thank you, Miss Stacia, for taking me home. Thank you, Miss Stacia, for the ride. Thank you, Miss Stacia." I mean, he was always so polite and so respectful. And he just weaseled his way into my heart, and he knew he had me wrapped around his finger. Then he was 14, he walked up to me and he said, "You know what? When I turn 18, I'm gonna marry you." I said, "Wesley, now, come on." He said, "I am, you just wait." So I think Tori even shared yesterday that Wesley knew how to push buttons and get under your skin, and he loved doing that to Molly Grace too, but lived for it. Sometimes I thought he probably laid in bed every day to think who he could torture, who he could cry, who he could get a reaction out of, and he knew exactly how to get her good. So he started telling her at school, "You know I'm gonna be your stepdaddy." He said, "You know what? You just need to start calling me Daddy," which would send her over the edge. Every Father's Day, he would text her, "Where's my Father's Day?" So he texted me a picture of a ring one time. He said, this is gonna be your ring." I said, "Buddy, you don't have to get a lot bigger ring than that." I promise you, when I go pro, I'm gonna get you one. So on his 18th birthday, he showed up at my house. Rang the door and said, "You know what today is?" And I said, "Well, it goes 18th birthday." But as we know, Wesley was always full of charm. Charm. I'm gonna go with charm. He could charm anybody, and he just got into your heart. You could not help but love him. He was always welcome in my house, whether he was invited or not. You always hear biblically where 2 or more are gathered in prayer. What Wesley's concern is 2 or more gathered, Wesley's there. If he heard there was any get together, if it was an all girls Christmas swap, a Friendsgiving, a makeup party, he just always showed up, dressed accordingly, just ready to be there. And he knew he was welcome, but he just always wanted to be in the middle of everything. And finally, Grace had a Christmas, her birthday's in December, and we had this bonfire one time, and everybody's supposed to wear Christmas pajamas. And on the way home, I said, "Wesley, did you get your Christmas pajamas?" He goes, "No, my mom bought me an elf costume." I said, "Well, that's not Christmas pajamas." He goes, "Chicks love elves." I said, "This is for the ladies. We're the ones who make the gifts." And that was the beginning of where I knew this path was gonna go. And everybody talks about that hair. Well, he and I would battle about that hair. Well, first it was the facial hair, the mustache. I did like the full beard and stuff. And I was like, "What are we doing with this mustache?" And he goes, "Station, made me look a lot more manly for you." And I was like, no. So then he started growing out that hair. It went into the mouth. I said, "Are we really doing the mullet?" "Yes, ma'am." And every time I saw him, it was getting bushier and bushier and bigger. And I was like, "Are we gonna still keep doing this?" And he goes, "When you have hair this beautiful, why would you cut it?" So I realized that's another battle I lost. He was gonna keep that hair, and I did. I ended up finally loving that hair. But you know, like many of y'all, you're asking why. And I have my moments of anger, of sadness. I don't understand it. Because there's some other jerks out there, you know, that I don't wish anybody dead or whatever, but like, Wesley was the kindest soul on this planet. He was so good and had so much love. And look at everybody here. I mean, he impacted more lives than most people that are 50, 60, 70 years old. And that says so much about him. And at the balloon drive, I mean, I was really even challenged last night. Have I made that big of an impact on people? And it just made me think of, we're all at a loss. We're all hurting. But let's not let losing Wesley be in vain. Let's take pieces of him. And I thought about it like, let's be Wesley. The common denominator is that smile. I've heard everybody talk about it, and I love that smile. If it came in the front door, if it came in the back door, that smile would light up a room. Don't ever withhold a smile toward everybody, toward your family, toward friends, toward strangers. Be Wesley. Be kind. He was kind to everybody. I've never seen him upset. He was always so even keel, everything just rolled off his back. But just be kind, because it makes a difference. You have no idea, just a kind word or being polite or well-mannered, how people remember that. Be intentional. I've heard people describe him as an intentional friend. He was very intentional. When he looked at you, he was listening to you. He wanted to know you. He wanted to know what mattered to you. And he remembered that. And that's important, because a lot of times we kind of hear people, but we don't listen. We truly don't comprehend. But he did. And you felt it. Don't hesitate to say, "I love you." And I always talk about Kathy, how much he loved you. And there's times when we would go to different places and say, "Could you make sure my mom knows? Could you contact with her? Make sure she knows I'm going where I'm supposed to go?" And I thought, you know, what a great guy. That's just so, but then after I met you, I understand you trained him. I was giving it from him to you, but I realized it came from you. You trained him very well. And, you know, it was all about his mom. and just be there for each other. This is gonna be hard. A lot of times we're in shock right now, but the days when you're used to calling him and you're used to being there, like they were supposed to all go see Zach Bryan in a couple weeks. They're planning their annual beach trip. It's gonna be different now, and it's gonna be harder as the days go by. You're gonna feel that emptiness and that hole. But just push forward and be Wesley, and be kind and considerate and reach out and talk to one another. Don't hold it in. I can honestly say I'm a better person from knowing Wesley. I'm a single mom. He was raised by a single mom. He understood the struggles. He understood how hard it was. He helped me. He helped me do my yard. If I ever ask him to need anything, yes ma'am, I'll be there when you need it. He was one of a kind, and I loved him dearly. And I'll leave with this last final story. I said he mowed my yard. We had rain after rain after rain, and my yard was growing up, and it really needed to cut. And I called him, I said, "Are you gonna be able to come cut my yard?" And he had a golf tournament, and he can't. I said, "It's all right, I'll find the backup." So I got Molly Grace behind the push mower, and I didn't tell her it had self-propel. We have lots of hills, and she was struggling, and she was sweating, and she was, having to dig in, which is why I videoed it for Wesley. And he texted me, he said, "Did you get your yard done?" I said, "Yeah, I did. I had to find somebody else." He said, "Who'd you get?" And I said, "I'll send you a video." I sent it to him, he said, "This is the best day of my life." He said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." I said, "You're welcome." But thank you, Kathy, for being the mother you were to him. In his short time, he changed the world. He changed a lot of people. And I loved him dearly, like my very own.